There is a specific number that has been burned into our collective consciousness since the 1990s. It is a figure that has haunted our ambitions and shaped our dreams for decades. A number that sits on a pedestal in the American psyche like a golden idol. It is the holy grail of the middle class, $100,000 a year. We grow up believing that this is the finish line. We are told by our parents, our teachers, and our culture that once you hit six figures, the struggle ends. The clouds part. The anxiety disappears, and you finally get to buy the boat, the house with the white picket fence, and the freedom to breathe. So you grind, you go to college and take on the debt, you get the degree, you work late nights in your 20s, you sacrifice your weekend. And finally, one day in December 2025, you get the promotion. Your salary hits $100,000, you pop the champagne, you call your mom. You feel like you have arrived. But then 6 months later, you look at your bank account on a Tuesday night and you realize something terrifying. You feel more broke than you did when you were making $60,000. You have more debt, less free time, higher stress, and your savings account is actually shrinking. You are not crazy. You are the victim of a complex mathematical phenomenon called the middle class squeeze. You have walked into a structural trap where the government, the banks, and the inflationary economy have conspired to make sure that every extra dollar you earn is confiscated before you ever get to spend it. My name is Kyle, and I spend way too much time dissecting the financial lies we tell ourselves to sleep at night. If you are a high earner who secretly feels like you are living paycheck to paycheck, hit that subscribe button, because today we are going to perform a forensic audit on the six-figure lie. We are going to look at the brutal math of marginal tax brackets, the benefit cliffs that punish success, and the psychological warfare of lifestyle creep to prove why, in this economy, earning more money often leads to having less wealth. This isn't just about inflation. It's about a system designed to strip mine the middle class of its capital. Here is the fundamental problem. Our brain is anchored to a version of reality that hasn't existed for 20 years. In 1995, earning $100,000 put you in the top tier of society. It was richy rich money. It was private school and country club money. But thanks to the silent compounding killer called inflation, $100,000 in 1995 is equivalent to roughly $215,000 in late 2025. If you are making $100,000 today, you are not rich. You are earning the inflation-adjusted equivalent of roughly $48,000 in the 90s. You have a luxury salary on paper, but a working-class purchasing power in reality. The label says executive, but the math says survival. The tragedy is that we still budget and spend as if we are the 1995 executive trying to maintain a lifestyle that the currency can no longer support. We are engaging in a mass delusion financed by credit cards trying to act out a script that became obsolete 2 decades ago. But inflation is just the surface level. The real scam happens in the tax code, and specifically the specific hellscape known as the middle-class donut hole. We need to talk about marginal utility. When you are poor, the government helps you. You get subsidies, tax credits, Pell Grants, maybe even healthcare assistance. There is a safety net that catches you when you fall. When you are super rich, the government helps you. You have capital gains rates, which are lower than income tax rates. You have depreciation loopholes for your real estate, and you have buy, borrow, die strategies to avoid taxes entirely. But the middle class, you are the cash cow. You are the only demographic that pays retail price for existence. You make too much to get help, but you don't make enough to rig the system. You are stuck in the middle, paying the bill for everyone else. Let's look at the raise trap, which is something nobody warns you about in HR. Let's say you get a raise from $75,000 to $100,000. That's a $25,000 bump. In your head you think, amazing, I have $2,000 extra a month, that's a mortgage payment. But you don't. First, you hit the progressive tax brackets. Your effective tax rate climbs. You are not just paying more tax. You are paying a higher percentage of tax on that new money. Then you lose the student loan interest deduction. Did you know that the government has decided that once your modified adjusted gross income crosses a certain threshold around $80,000 to $90,000, depending on the filing status in the year, you are too rich to deduct the interest on your student loans? So effectively, your student loan payment just got more expensive the moment you got a raise. You are penalized for succeeding. Then there is the child care cliff, This is the one that bankrupts young families. If you have kids, many subsidies or pre-kindergarten tax credits phase out as your income rises. In some states, earning that extra $10,000 puts you out of the bracket for subsidized childcare or financial aid for preschool. Suddenly, your childcare costs might jump by $15,000 a year because you lost a subsidy. Do the math on that. You earn $10,000 more gross. Taxes took $3,000 of it, and your expenses rose by $15,000 because you lost a benefit. You are mathematically poorer by $8,000 because you worked harder. This is a system designed to keep you on the treadmill. You are running into a headwind that gets stronger the faster you run. Now combine this structural unfairness with the social pressure of the HENRY demographic. High earner, not rich yet. This is a psychological trap. When you hit six figures, society expects you to perform the role of a successful person. You can't drive the 2012 Honda Civic anymore. You're a director now. You have clients. You have an image. You need the Tesla or the BMW. You can't live in the starter apartment. You need the single-family home in the nice school district. This is lifestyle creep, but I prefer to call it the conformity tax. The entire marketing engine of the global economy is targeted specifically at the middle class. They know the poor have no money to extract. They know the rich are frugal or hard to impress. But the middle class, you are insecure. You are desperate to prove you made it. You are terrified of falling behind. So you buy the house that stretches your debt-to-income ratio to the absolute limit. Let us run the numbers on being house poor in 2025. A person making $60,000 a year knows they are broke. They have no illusions. They rent a modest apartment, drive a used car, and cook at home. They might actually save $500 a month because their overhead is low. Now look at the person making $120,000. They qualify for a massive mortgage. They buy a $600,000 house because the bank said they could. The mortgage, property taxes, and insurance are $4,500 a month. But nobody talks about the phantom costs of that house. The lawn care, the HOA fees, the roof repair, the new furniture to fill the empty rooms. You are spending money you have not even earned yet just to maintain the space. They lease 2 cars for $1,200. They put their kids in travel, soccer, and piano lessons because that is what successful parents do. At the end of the month, the person making $120,000 often has zero left over, or worse, they are running a monthly deficit. They are using credit cards to buy groceries. They have higher revenue but lower margins. They are a bloated, inefficient corporation heading for bankruptcy, while the $60,000 earner is a lean, profitable startup. There is another hidden tax on the middle class that we ignore at our peril: the time tax. To earn $100,000 in 2025 usually requires a level of availability that destroys your soul. It is not a 9-to-5 anymore. It is the always-on email culture. It is the Slack notifications at 8 p.m. It is the unpaid overtime. It is the mental stress that follows you home and ruins your sleep. When you are making $40,000 in a shift work job, you clock out. You are done. When you make $100,000 in the knowledge economy, you never clock out. Your brain is always leased to the corporation. And what do we do when we are stressed and time poor? We spend money to solve problems because we have no energy left. We create a convenience industrial complex around our lives. We order delivery because we are too tired to cook. That is $60 for a dinner that would cost $10 to make. We hire cleaners because we do not have time to scrub the toilet. We subscribe to 5 different streaming services just to numb out. This is the decompression spending we talked about before. A huge chunk of that 6-figure salary is spent just trying to numb the pain of earning it. You are paying a premium to survive your own job. You are in a cycle of earning money to pay for the therapy and the takeout that you need specifically because of how you earn the money. This leads to the golden handcuffs. You might hate your job. You might want to quit and start a business or take a lower-paying job with more purpose. But you cannot. You have built a $100,000 infrastructure around your life. You have zero optionality. The person making $60,000 with low expenses can quit tomorrow and figure it out. The person making $120,000 with high expenses is a prisoner. They have to tolerate the toxic boss and the layoffs because they are owned by their own lifestyle. This is why you see so many people in their 30s and 40s who look successful on Instagram. Vacations in Tulum, new SUVs, nice clothes, but are secretly taking antidepressants and drowning in debt. They fell for the scam. They thought the income number was the goal. But income is not wealth. This is the most critical distinction in personal finance. Income is just the speed at which you run. Wealth is how much distance you cover. If you run at 100 miles per hour, but you are running on a treadmill, you have zero wealth. You just have a lot of sweat. You have high cash flow, but zero net worth. And let us talk about the future, because the middle class is also facing a retirement crisis. The HENRY demographic is notoriously bad at saving. Why? Parkinson's law. This law states that work expands to fill the time available. In finance, it means expenses expand to meet income. Every time you get a raise, you find a new need. You upgrade the internet speed. You switch from Target to Whole Foods. You switch from the gym to Equinox. You absorb the surplus instantly. This means that a person making $150,000 often saves the exact same amount, zero, as the person making $50,000. But the person making $150,000 has a much bigger problem. They have developed a taste for a $150,000 lifestyle. To retire and maintain that lifestyle, they need millions of dollars. The high earner has actually dug themselves a deeper hole. So how do we escape the middle class scam? How do we break the high earner poor person cycle? It requires a radical shift in psychology. You have to divorce your ego from your income. You have to refuse to act your wage. The system is designed to extract your capital through status signaling. You have to opt out of the signal game. If you make $100,000, you need to live like you make $50,000. I know that sounds extreme. That sounds unfun, but that gap, that $50,000 difference, is your freedom. That is your escape money. The system wants you to upgrade. The bank wants you to upgrade so they can charge you interest. Your neighbors want you to upgrade so they do not feel bad about their own bad decisions. The act of rebellion is to stay put. Keep the small apartment. Drive the 2015 Toyota until the wheels fall off. Do not upgrade your phone every year. When you get a raise, hide it. Pretend it did not happen. This is a strategy called stealth wealth. Automatically divert that extra money into an investment account before it ever hits your checking account. If it vanishes into the S&P 500 automatically, you will build wealth in the background while living your normal life. You have to artificially induce scarcity. You have to make yourself feel broke so that you do not spend money on stupid things. We need to redefine what middle class means. It should not mean maximum consumption. It should not mean keeping up with the Joneses, who, by the way, are broke and divorced. It should mean maximum optionality. The true flex in 2025 is not the BMW in the driveway. It is the ability to lose your job and not panic for 2 years. It is the ability to say no to a toxic boss because you do not need the next paycheck to survive. It is the ability to take a risk. Do not let the $100,000 number fool you in 2025. That number is the new baseline for struggle unless you aggressively manage your overhead. Stop chasing the salary title and start chasing the net profit of your life. Because at the end of the day, it does not matter how much money passes through your hands. It only matters what sticks. You are not a conduit for the bank's profits. You are the CEO of your life, and it is time to start running it like a profitable business, not a charity for luxury brands. If this video made you realize you have been running on a treadmill, share it with a friend who just got a promotion. Save them from the trap before they sign the lease on the new car. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.